back to my YouTube channel. I'm Liam. Today I'm going to do a round 5 preview. This is recorded a bit early in the week as I'm going away this week, so be mindful there could be some, if there's any injury updates later on, that this will not cover that. So the main story this week is, if you have Caleb Daniel, what do you do with him? I personally feel it's a must trade. Being out for a week, it's with no rookie bench players in the defence that you're actually confident in playing. 2, he's going to drop down significantly in price. And 3, there are a couple of decent other defensive options that you could look to bring in this week for him. So I personally believe Daniel is a must trade. Another one that's possibly being in a trade option is Jordan Clark. He played a forward pocket role last week against Melbourne, and I was lucky to get to 63. And with Dangerfield coming back, he's certainly not going to get any more midfield time. Jeremy Cameron might be back, so there's forward use that he might not be able to get. So if you have the chance to possibly offload him, I would be looking to do so. Also with Highmore and Kaczynski, I feel like they said Kaczynski was being rested. He's not going to produce massive numbers, but if he can hold a game, then might as well keep him. Highmore, it's going to be hard to get back into that St Kilda lineup. If you've got nothing else wrong with your team, I would be looking to offload him. However, there is not many rookies that you can probably go down to, but there's a couple that you can go up to that I'll talk about later. With these rookie midfielders, Goulden, just hold Jordan. Hopefully he can bounce back. It will stagnate his price rise, but all these, Campbell, Power, Berry, Brockman, hold for another few weeks, most certainly. If you've got a Sharp, you might be actually a handy loophole option later. Between the defensive mid, especially if you have Clark, you can do it in both lines. Again, I would only trade if you got nothing else on. Grundy Flynn should be back this week, so I'll be a hold. Treacy, I'm not trading him. And in the forward line, Robertson hopefully can hold a spot. If he doesn't, I would still hold. But if it's looking like he's not going to come back in a few weeks, maybe a cheap forward rookie's coming on, then I would offload him. Rowe, hold. Scott, again, he's playing. So if he's playing, hold. But again, he's someone that you could possibly look to offload this week, and Meek as well. With the introduction of Tracy, Meek might, if you also want to offload him, you could, but again, I would certainly go players that are not playing before that, or an ability to upgrade your team before fixing around with them. So trade options this week, there's not many in the lower price bracket that I'll be looking at. Maybe there might be some rookies coming in later in the week, but I always like to look at other games, look at each of them. Nothing in that range. In the 200 to 200k, Lockie Jones, it's just hard to pay up that much for him. He would be a handy little defender cash cow to have. I don't see him scoring 68 each week, but if you've got a Highmore or Kaczynski and you've got the straight swap, might as well. Burgess, I would probably go Jones over him. Even though he's still going to score solid, I still don't particularly enjoy his role. McCreary, if you've got a forward option that you want, and if he's playing next week, certainly an option. I wouldn't touch Iden. Waterman wouldn't probably touch, and none of the others I would be happy to have in my team. Out of those, probably Jones, even though I probably wouldn't pay $260 for him personally. In the other bracket, one I'm looking at is Nick Cox with a defender forward status. Couple of averaging about 76 in his last 3. he's got his role and he's settled in nicely into his Essendon team. Handy defensive player who can swing forward, especially if you have a Fantasia link. You've got Nick Hind in the forward line. You can eventually possibly defend a forward link him. I feel like Cox is a handy defensive option that will make a fair bit of coin in the coming weeks. Again, Chapman's another option, but I'd probably prefer Lockie Jones for 50k cheaper. I feel like they're going to have similar outputs later on. So Nick Cox is probably my number one choice at this very stage. There's no real... if you want to pay for Atkins, but he's the only one I'd touch in this price bracket. Does have a very nice role and will also get forward defensive status, which you can swing with a Cox or Fantasia, who I would probably look to offload this week if I had him. In the next bracket, Giath. It's just hard to look at if someone's got 150k and pay for him. He is averaging 96 in his last three, but it just hasn't. You haven't seen him perform as this well in the last couple of seasons, so it's hard to have any trust with picking a guy up for that 500. He could be an option for Daniel if you need the cash to go up somewhere. Another person would be looking at is Impey, who's also averaging a similar price. He is 50k more, but he's again the same as GF. Still hasn't had the had that scoring potential before, so we don't know for future rounds. I would go GF over Impey if that's 50-50 for you. Coming is still an option, but again, like GF, he has gone up 147k, and I would prefer GF over Coming at that price. Moving into the higher price brackets, the more Daniels price brackets, Walker, I prefer he's gone up too much. He has to be a holder for you if you want to. If you do not have him, Wingard, still don't overly like his role, but there's plenty of others that I would target over him. Zeeble has a nice role and he will get his forward defensive status. Again, he'll probably continue to average maybe 90 odd throughout the season. I don't see him sticking at 103. Lucky Weather is fairly consistent, but I don't like this price bracket at all. It's just none of them are high primos, and none of them are going to be stay in your team by round 23. So going up, this is where I'd probably target for Daniel is Jordan Ridley. Amazing role out of fullback, and he is one of those players that won't be tagged. He's just impossible to tag, being just a defender that's his size. No one will run with him. He'll only be able to, and he gets a free 20 odd points every game kicking out from fullback. So there's no worry with him. He takes so many intercept marks. A tagger cannot stop that. If you don't want to go Ridley, Bose is another option. Seems to just get so many cheap little balls in the back line. And so if you want to go a straight swap or just a little bit up from Daniel, those two are my options. Doherty is also a possible option for a little cheaper if you cannot afford those two. And beyond Lloyd Watch as well, he's dropped nearly 100k, and he did the similar thing last season where I picked him up about this stage, and he averaged about 115 from then onwards. So be wary of also Lloyd. He doesn't have his kick-outs as he did like last year, but again, a possible option there. Mitchell, if you're looking in the midfield, absolute gun. He's probably my number one midfield option. Everyone else, I still don't have any trust in that price bracket with. And at the 800k mark, Guthrie, I love his roles. Dangerfield coming back is hard to be able to know what he's going to do. So he's on watch. Oliver was on watch after being tagged in that middle week. He's dropped a little bit. He's just a little mini pig, just racking up if you don't have McRae, Taranto, I would also look at grabbing them. And Jack Steele is all, and probably wouldn't go Petrarca, but Jack Steele is also an option, dropping for 50k and starting to hit some form. So that's my preview for round 5. Good luck with your trades this week, and I'll see you Sunday night with hopefully a good review.